To the Impact Revolution channel. It's a big pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much for the time and for your time available for making this interview. How you doing?
I'm delighted to be with you and in this global conversation about what's happening in the world and how we can change it for the better.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love your mission actually and everything that you do and share in LinkedIn and in the YouTube channel that you have about 6 seconds about emotional intelligence and the work that you do for companies and corporations and leaderships, right? In order to change this mindset. So it's very in line with what we try to share here in the Impact Revolution. So yeah, let's start with the interview. If you're okay. All right. So first of all, this is a kind of personal questions that we would like to ask you, just to know you a bit more. So the first one, Joshua, will be someone who admires you really well and knows you very well. How will define who is Joshua Freedman?
Oh my gosh, that's an embarrassing question. If they know me really
No
well,
modesty here. No modesty here. That's the point.
if they know me really well, they'll say I'm goofy and
Goofy.
insecure sometimes and um, deeply committed to making the world better and recognizing that I have to make myself better if I want to make the world better.
Okay. Love that.
I'm I'm one of the handful, 3 or 4 people in the world who has been full-time working on emotional intelligence for over 25 years. I'm one of the pioneers of this work of how you actually create value with emotional intelligence. And I lead the largest and co-founded the largest organization in the world in this space.
All right. That demonstrates your commitment that you were saying just now. Okay, lovely. Thank you.
Well, I will tell you, all you entrepreneurs, I will tell you, I often think, what is it that's really gotten us to this point? And I will tell you that I think the majority is just plain stubbornness and just a refusal, like, this isn't working. Okay, we're going to make it work. We're going to try
Mhm.
something different. And just
Yes.
like that bullheaded stubbornness, like, okay, we're going to try more tomorrow. That's 25 years later, I can say that's one of the keys.
Yesterday, remind me to this newsletter I published yesterday in my LinkedIn profile, and I shared the link to this TED talk about grit. I don't know if you know. I don't remember the name of the woman who said, but that was one of the key attitudes or mindsets for successful life. Yeah, and to get success in entrepreneurship and in other areas of life. So, thank
I
you for
feel like
sharing that.
there's an
Yes.
important balance, which is self-compassion and compassion for others to be
Okay.
balanced with that grit. And I sometimes hear leaders say, oh, these young people, they have no grit. It's like, okay, but maybe you're a jerk and you're abusing them and you're creating an intolerable work environment. And if you want them to be committed, maybe you need to do it differently.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I know
Totally.
there's a kind of toxic, you've heard the term toxic positivity. There's a kind of toxic grit,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
like, oh, we just have to keep going. And we have phrases in English like man up,
Uh-huh.
which kind of link this to the kind of suppression of our emotions and kind of ignoring of problems. It's also connected with toxic masculinity, and
Uh-huh.
I would say, to white supremacy culture in general. If we need to persevere and we need to build perseverance, but I would rather do that inspired by the way a tree grows
Mm-hmm.
than inspired by a bulldozer.
All right. Sure. Sure. I think I got the point. So it's more about having like the willing to do that, right? And the purpose and the motivation instead of being forced, like, right? Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally, totally agree. All right, now the next questions is a bit also a bit personal. I just wanted to know, Joshua, if I ask you, what was the happiest moment of your life, what would you say? Or what is the first one that comes to your mind?
Well, I think being a parent is full of the happiest and hardest moments.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Okay.
there is nothing as heartbreaking and difficult, and there's nothing I've ever done in my life that really prepared me for being a parent, and nothing that has been as wonderful and as hard.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, just last week I was with my 23-year-old, and they were just like, I was walking away, and they're like, "No, you give me a hug, don't leave," and just that sense of, this is a person, two people with both of my kids, who we have this connection that we have with no one else in the world. And
That's
the
beautiful.
times when I would come home and my son was very demonstrative, and he would come running, across the room and throw himself into my arms when he was tiny. That when I'm feeling down, sometimes I think about that moment, that feeling of this little boy just throwing himself into my arms.
I love it. Thank you so much. And you're getting emotional. So thank you. I can feel it. I can feel it. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, Joshua, now we're going to the interview, let's say business and more life questions and lessons learned from you. And I like to ask you the first one, which is if you were to die tomorrow, Joshua, which is the last impactful message that you will leave to the world?
You're making a difference.
Wow. Okay.
I just did a workshop earlier this week for a group of college students in our summer internship program.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things I talked about is this quote from Gandhi, where he said, "Nothing you do makes very much difference, but it's very important you do it anyway."
Wow.
And I think sometimes we get attached to, like, I have to solve everything. And especially as entrepreneurs, there's a kind of burden that we carry of, like, I've got to drive this. And you know what? We're not going to solve it. We're not going to fix it. We're not going to transform everything. But it's very important that we take the steps. Because if we don't, nobody's going to do it.
That's right. I love it. Thank you so much. You are making a difference, Joshua, for sure.
Thank
All
you.
right, great. Thank you.
Just
Now,
one more thing I want
yes,
to add to that, which is,
yes.
I think a lot of us get caught up in, well, I have to do X, Y, and Z to make a difference.
Mm.
I have to be successful to make a difference. I have to do the Bill Gates strategy, where you, like, make people's lives miserable with a product that's full of bugs, and then you can make a difference.
Mm. Yeah.
Sorry, Bill. But that's not what I said. It's not, you're going to make a difference. No,
Uh-huh.
you are making a difference
Mm-hmm.
now.
No,
Whether
definitely.
you're in the very early stage of a startup, whether you don't even have a business yet, whether you're dreaming of impact,
Mm-hmm.
we're impacting the world right now. You want to do some impact? Starts here. Now.
For sure. For sure, is the daily action, daily commitment, and the present. Yes, and then working on those important goals that will make the difference, and it's making difference already, as you say. Thank you, Joshua. That's very motivating, I think, for every entrepreneur that is listening to us and it will see this video later on. And this reminds me to this story that Mark Zuckerberg also sharing his speech, which was about a janitor or something in the NASA. And he said, I'm helping people or I'm getting the man to the moon, something like this, which is, everyone is in the big team, and if they have a purpose and they have the same common purpose, then they are making an impact, as you say.
One
Thank
of my
you.
favorite exercises when I go work with a company,
Yes.
it sounds really obvious, but I'll go into a meeting typically of senior managers, and I'll say, I've read about you all, and I've heard about your work, and often I'll have had one-to-ones with them before that meeting. I'll say, but just to get on the same page, I'd just like to go around the table, and you've each tell me your name and what you do here.
All right.
And some of them say, even very senior leaders will say, like, oh, well, I move paper clips. They don't literally say that, but they talk about a task.
Uh-huh.
And some of them will talk about a function.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm in charge of technology security.
Yes.
But some of them will talk about purpose.
Mm.
Well, I'm part of this purpose. And for me, just that simple question, go around the table and hear each person in one sentence say what they do here, I immediately understand whether we're operating in this kind of transactional culture of task or this kind of accountable culture of role, or whether we're talking about a transformational culture of purpose.
Definitely, yeah. That tells very clearly why they are there, right? And why they are doing what they are doing. Their why, basically.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. And in connection to that, now, Joshua, what is your why?
Well, I have two answers to that. One is my
Yes.
own noble goal, and the other is the organization's purpose.
Okay.
So at 6 Seconds, we have a model of emotional intelligence. We have 8 learnable, measurable, scientifically grounded competencies. And the
Okay.
8th competency is one we call pursue noble goals. And that's about taking purpose. It's really about you are making a difference. It's about feeling the clarity of your purpose in this moment. So my own purpose is to inspire compassionate wisdom. And that's about what I want to add to the world. Not just in my job, but in my family, in the grocery store, talking to the security guy at the desk here at the university where I am right now. What do I want to contribute? And it took me 10 years to get it down to that short a phrase, by the way. But I'm really fortunate that I've gotten to work on that and get clear that I want to inspire compassionate wisdom.
All right. Thank you.
The organization's purpose is to increase the world's emotional intelligence.
Yes.
And so we can say it in that practical way. We have a more poetic way of saying it, which is to ignite the spark in all of us. And we believe that it's about connecting. So it's connecting to ignite the spark in all of us. So that's that's the kind of noble goal of the organization, and our mission is to increase the world's emotional intelligence. And then our vision, how we see that coming into the world, is that a billion people will be practicing the skills of emotional intelligence, not just having them, not just knowing them, but actually putting them into practice.
Billion people, eh? That's like the vision. Billion
Yeah, and we
people
have
practice.
about 8 million so far.
A million people need to practice.
So we have a long way to go. But
Yeah, I would love to support in that vision as well,
great, one more.
because so definitely come with me.
Okay,
I really
everybody who's
like
watching right now, I want to see your +1. Yes, I'm in. We can count you.
definitely, definitely. I like this about connection because I really believe in that as well. Joshua, I actually started 1 month ago a newsletter which is called Care Connection because it's about caring connection. I think it's about connecting, but with care and with love and like meaningful connections, not just like social media, some artificial connection that I don't think it serves us. So yeah, I'm
And Yoshi, look at the questions you just asked me at the beginning. Like, that's not what most people ask.
yes,
I've literally done 1,000 interviews. No interview that I've ever done has started with tell me about a moment that was happiest in your life.
yes,
Like, so that care that you're committed to, you're doing it. You're
yes.
pursuing that noble goal in the way you're engaging. So thank you.
Thank you to you, Joshua, for those comments. Really, really means a lot. Yes. I love these interviews, if I'm honest with you, Joshua. It's my pleasure. I love them because I learn so much from you guys. And also, it feeds my emotional less intelligence and also soul, in a way that I'm sharing this with others that, we can make an impact together. And I believe also in the power of collaboration, altruistic collaboration. So, yeah, thank you for that comment. And regarding this purpose that you have and the work that you do, Joshua, would you say are your main lessons learned, or how is the best way you have found so far to achieve these visions and these missions and goals?
Well, how many hours do we have?
Like,
Um,
this is half an hour, so you can make a small summary. That will be awesome.
so I would say one
Hmm.
crucial ingredient is that, I mean, Peter Drucker said culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Yes, I love
Um,
that one.
we have something that I often hear from people who interact with 6 Seconds is, wow, I really love the 6 Seconds people. Um, Sometimes people will say to me, you know what, from the very first email that I got back from someone at 6 Seconds, every person that I've talked to at 6 Seconds is so consistent in their commitment and caring, and I feel really supported.
Mm.
It doesn't always happen, but it very often happens. And it's a message I've heard over and over and over all around the world. We work, at this point, we have certified practitioners in 150 countries and territories. And we have programs that run in 200 countries and territories. And I hear this message
That's
over and over. And to me, that is a huge lesson. What I would say about that is, as you think about your strategy, how you're going to kind of move from point A, from the current reality, to this evolving future,
hmm
your culture is either going to be undermining that or supporting that. And I don't think there's any other options. I think it's either undermining or supporting. I don't think there's such a thing as neutral. And it's at least as important as your IP, at least as important as your systems, at least as important as your branding and marketplace position. If people don't feel that culture internally, inside the organization and externally, you are burning money. You're burning people's lives. So being very thoughtful about what is the culture that will support our strategy. And just for example, I had somebody, a senior leader recently, I was on an airplane and we were talking about their culture, and they're saying they really needed to innovate. And so I was asking about their culture, and basically what she said to me is, well, we're an organization that was like started by engineers and lawyers, and our culture is about compliance and rule following. And I said, okay, fantastic. Innovation is not going to happen well,
Definitely not.
right? So you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to build a new group, or you're going to have to create a new startup, or you're going to have to do it on the side, the innovator's
Yes.
dilemma. But you can't be both rule-oriented and innovative.
Yes, totally. That's
So
very good.
thinking about the culture that aligns to your process of value creation, and then engaging and growing and connecting people who really feel and are committed to that culture.
Hmm hmm Definitely. And this reminds me to one newsletter that I read recently from John Spence. I'm not sure if you are connected with him. That he was saying, something about hire for culture fit instead of skills, because you can always train for skills, but the culture fit. And it's also something that we learned in the master degree I did in HR, in HR management. It's all about culture. Yeah, the organizations that thrive at the end, it's about building this community, this tribe that will thrive wherever it happens in the environment. Yeah. All right,
And
thank you.
also, and also in a tumultuous world, like those relationships, those systems, that's what's going to make you agile and adaptive and able to work in a changing environment. So
That's right.
then the question that I ask our clients, and if any of you want to be a client, then I'll just ask you this question: what are the skills your people need in order to grow and sustain that culture? And some of those skills they already have, and some of them they don't. And we can grow those skills, and we can measure that. So a lot of our work is around measuring the organizational vitality or team vitality, which is about the way we are building a context of trust and working together on purpose, and creating alignment in the way we function. And then underneath that, what are the skills, which are emotional intelligence, and the emotional intelligence skills that that then support that culture that we want. And that's the value chain from, okay, me and my colleagues, the skills that we bring to bear on the people side of our work to shape and grow the culture, to shape and grow the way people interact. It's kind of an emotional value chain that leads ultimately to customers and investors and how they experience the company.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, it's like starting with the why, like Simon Sinek says, and then the how, and then the what, right? And how to put that everything in practice. Great.
But putting it into practice from a human perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it? Why are people engaged? Not just kind of why is the company making money,
Mm-hmm.
but why do I want to be part of that?
Yes.
Profitability is an outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Cash
Definitely.
is an outcome of people investing.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Fred Smith's, the way he talked, Fred Smith, the founder of FedEx, the way he talks about it is he uses this term discretionary effort. And what he says is,
Can you repeat discretionary?
yeah, discretionary. So he says, you pay people to do this much work, but success requires this much work. And
Uh-huh.
that gap between here and here, that's a gift from the employee. It's at their discretion. And why are they going to give that gift?
And that's what makes the difference, right? All right. Very good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that one. So, I wanted to ask you, because you are an EQ expert, right? Oh, 25 years, 25 years. Your
I'm
commitment, your
practicing.
commitment. Okay? You're practicing. Well, that's great. So I'm also an emotional coach and executive performance coach. So we are practitioners of EQ, and we also, teach and also we learn every day. So I wanted to know what are the practices, Joshua, that are most helpful for you.
Well, at 6 seconds, as I mentioned, we have this vision of 1 billion people practicing emotional intelligence. And
Uh-huh.
when we say practicing, we have a process.
Okay.
And one of the ways that 6 seconds is different is we're not like, oh, here's the theory, here's what it means. We do a lot of research, we do a lot of theory, but our goal isn't just knowing, our goal is about doing, about practicing. So we created a process for how you practice.
Okay.
And there are 3 steps. Step 1 is to notice, get the data.
Mm-hmm.
Step 2 is to pause and assess that data and expand your options.
Uh-huh.
And then step 3 is to step forward, connected beyond yourself.
Mm. That's where the
So,
purpose goes, right? I
yeah,
suppose.
purpose and empathy.
Okay.
So we're connecting, not empathizing. It's not a one-way street. It's a mutual street. We're going to build this space of empathic connection. We're going to connect sort of in community, and we're going to connect with the future with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So this 3-step process, we put in a circle,
All right.
and we call those 3 steps know yourself. Know yourself is about getting the data. Choose
Mm-hmm.
yourself. It's about being intentional in this moment, expanding the options, and give yourself. It's about stepping forward in connection beyond yourself.
Yes.
And then do it again. And then do it again. And it's just, little tiny moments of our day where we go, oh, I'm feeling something. I notice how I'm reacting. Is that how I want to be reacting? Step 2. Like, what are some other options? Step 3. Oh, here's how I really want to step forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great.
Now, for
Great.
me, it's the 3rd step of that's really, in my own experience, the hardest and the most transformational.
Definitely. Definitely. I totally agree because I have experienced also the same. And regarding that, I'm curious. I'm curious, and I'm not sure if you would like to respond or not, but having this process that you have practiced, and I also practice in a way, yes. What is the biggest self-realization that you have gotten, would you say, from this?
This the space of connection is there all the time.
Mhm.
Sometimes I don't feel it, sometimes I don't notice it, but it's there.
Okay.
It's like an eye blink away. And if I can pause and tune in, I can step more into that space.
Lovely.
And it's a powerful space. It's a powerful space as a leader. It's a powerful space as a human being.
Great. And when you say connection, Joshua, what do you mean exactly? What it means for you?
Well, now we might get a little philosophical, but I know you
Yes.
you might be open to that. But when I started studying the Tao Te Ching when I was a teenager, and it's
Mhm.
always fascinated me. Um, in Star Wars, it's the Force. Uh, in Lao Tzu's writing, it's the Tao.
Uh-huh.
This notion that there is a kind of energy of life,
Mhm.
and I'm not. For some people that's God. For some people that's Gaia. For some
Universe.
people that's
Yeah.
wonder. For some people that's like human capacity and goodness. But I think many of us have that sense of there's a kind of, we can feel, and again, emotional intelligence, we can feel this sense that
Mhm.
we're part of. And I
Definitely.
think from much of my life anyway, I've kind of felt like an outsider. And so maybe this has been kind of part of my own journey and quest to feel that sense that I I have a note in this song.
Mm.
I have a thread in this tapestry, and I can feel part of it,
Mhm.
and I can
Beautiful.
contribute to it.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Joshua. I feel very much a lot of all the words that you just said. And for me, it's the connection also to the universe and to everything that is, in here. So yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. And we are, wow, I cannot believe it's been almost the end of the interview. It's been very quick. I wanted to ask you, this is something that I like to ask at the end. What impactful last message would you leave or would you share to start as entrepreneurs for, helping them?
All change starts on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, as an entrepreneur, if the impact you want to make is whatever, your impact you want to make is that uh, there's more equity in the world, have more equity in your own relationship with yourself and the people immediately around you. If the impact you want to make is that, people can have more laughter in their lives, get more laughter in your life. Uh, I really appreciate the work of Adrienne Marie Brown
Okay.
and her book Emergent Strategy. And she has a set of principles of emergent strategy. And one of them she calls small is all.
Small is all. I love that.
And, and this kind of fractal nature of change that, the templates that we set in our small interactions magnify and magnify and magnify and ripple outward. And so as you kind of look at not just what your business is or what you're doing, but who are you being? Who are you choosing to be as you go about that work? And are you being? I think we focus a lot on what we're doing. And as leaders, I don't think leadership is about doing. I don't think
Mhm.
leadership is about task. I think leadership is about being.
Mhm.
And can we be somebody who's trustworthy? Can we be somebody who is purposeful? Can we be somebody who is connected
Yes. Oh, Joshua, we lost you there. Hi, can you
So
hear me?
seems like having some technical difficulties here for a moment, but
It's okay. I think it's a sign from the universe. You know, it's 30 minutes, Joshua. So we are right on time. Thank you so much for sharing all these powerful messages. I think the interview was really, really good. And yeah, thank you so much for your time. Any last words that you would like to leave us?
yes, as I said, I hope you will, everybody watching, that you will commit to practice emotional intelligence, grow these skills, because they will make a difference for you and your work.
And for the world as well, I would say. I will add. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joshua. Thanks a lot. All right.
Thanks,
Cheers
everybody.
and see to you. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye.